we're in such a culture where we're so used to thinking things, and we don't know how to listen to the body. We haven't been given permission. We've been taught how to actually disregard it and dismiss it. So a lot of my work is getting people to just feel and actually be able to describe sensations so that they come into contact with like more of their wisdom.
Welcome to this new episode, and today I am in the company of Rachael. How are you, Rachael?
I'm very good. Happy to be here. How are you?
Lovely, I'm feeling very good indeed. So, Rachael is into consciousness, arts, and healing.
Yes.
Lovely. I know Rachael very well because I'm also doing a theater project with her. So, I'm very excited to learn a little bit more about your background.
So, I studied theatre as a degree. I did a master's in performance studies. I played piano since I was 7, singing as well, and then started writing music when I was like in my late teens, writing songs. And actually, yoga came to me. I didn't come to yoga. It was like when I was about 15, I think. My mum brought a yoga teacher to our house. We had an empty room that wasn't being used, and started having yoga classes. And it was this, this was like 95 or something, 1995. In the West, it wasn't already so popular or so well known. And my mom was like, come and try this thing. And I loved it, and I didn't realize that she was actually such an amazing teacher until she left after a couple of years to live in India. And then I tried to find other yoga classes, but for me it was like, this is just some kind of stretching, because my teacher had done the mantras and visualizations and some of the philosophy and everything. So from such a young age, I feel like I've been so blessed, like, to be somehow given these amazing opportunities just without even making an effort.
That's lovely, and I think it's very lucky indeed to find yoga so early on, and particularly having a teacher who is not just a gym teacher, but somebody who also
Exactly.
understands the spirituality and the more of the mysticism behind yoga. Right? That's
Exactly.
wonderful. And then, well, I know that you spent quite a bit of time in Koh Phangan training in yoga. That was your first training in Koh Phangan, is that right?
No, training, like I did a yoga teacher training here, I think, is it 2 or 3 years ago nearly now. But before that I was in India, and that's really where I felt that my spiritual sort of awakening, but maybe even more acceptance came in, because I didn't feel like a complete freak anymore. There was other people.
Particularly in India, I'm sure. Where did you go? Like Arambol or like a
No, Rishikesh.
Rishikesh, of course.
Rishikesh, and went deep, like the meditation practices, the yoga and mantra practice particularly. And I think because I have such an affinity with music, this mantra practice of just repeating the same mantra, I think we did it as a group like 20,000 times in a week, or 5 days or something. And I had some very mystical experiences. Like, I think it was to do with my attunement with sound, and that broke me apart, like, of what is this reality, like, what this is not what I've been told, the science, that everything has to be backed up by science, and unless science has already proven it, you can't kind of have faith and all this kind of thing. And just to read and to hear other people speaking from a place of such openness, and it just felt like, yes, I know this to be true, so that was my first really, like, feeling a tribe, or like a community, of acceptance. Yeah.
Lovely. So yoga obviously is had a major influence on you, and obviously not just the asana practice, but you did a lot more than just that. Also in Koh Phangan, I know.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, well, I think one of the first times I saw you, you were performing with the guitar. Is that right?
Ah,
Yes.
was it?
Yes.
Where was that?
I think it was Green Gallery, possibly. Yeah.
Wow.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your music and your creative singing?
Yes. So, like I said, I started writing songs when I was in my teens. And over time, I was writing from this real angsty, place. And then I realized, wow, what I'm singing is so powerful. I think it's like a manifestation. And I started to notice that whenever I made some music that was more aligned with like positivity, with presence, with appreciation for what is here rather than, oh, I wish I had, then it actually started to make things change in my life. So in the last year, because of COVID, and I was living with a group of people in a big villa, and I just started writing songs inspired by these people and by just our connection and like we were kind of holding events and it was really beautiful. And yeah, I mean, particularly the first song that really came to me was Infinite Joy, which is just like, I mean, that was an expression of maybe like a lot of kind of new agey ideas, but that also have like, I know, such a base in like traditions of spirituality. And one of my friends who was living with me, Patricia, who is like my biggest fan, she's so sweet.
Udipi?
Yeah, yeah. And so she, as I wrote more and more songs, I was actually writing songs for people's birthdays. And what I was doing, I noticed, was it was such an easy way for me to write songs because it was like I kind of just got into the energy of that person or my relationship with like the best parts of that person. And then the music just flowed, like the words just flowed. And, I was writing songs in 40 minutes and stuff like that.
Wow, just literally channeling it from your deeper self, or higher self, right? Into paper or into singing immediately.
Yeah, I usually like play a few chords, sing, and then like write something, record a little bit, and it just flows like that. And after I'd written maybe like 4 or 5 songs, Patricia was like, and then some of my old songs as well, Patricia was like, you have to do a concert, I'm going to organize. And that was the Green Gallery concert, actually.
Very
that was
nice.
The first. And I hadn't played a concert for like 10 years.
Wow.
So I did music a little bit, and then for the last 10 years I've been more in circus. So my like day job for the last 10 years has been a circus teacher and performer.
Wow, what a job! Huh? That's not your typical 9 to 5, is it?
I know, but that's like my day job,
So what did you? So you work with the artists, the circus artists, so.
Yeah, so because of my theatre background, I got into teaching like very young kids in the circus school in Belfast in Northern Ireland, where I'm
that's
from.
where you're from, yeah.
Quite easily, they were looking for teachers, and I just picked up the skills quite quickly, and then gradually, developing more and more my skills, and then merging that with my theatre background. Then I'm doing like clowning and improvisation, and created my own show, and so I have like my solo show where I'm a juggling and hula hooping mermaid.
Whoa! Like with a costume as well?
Yeah.
Be fun to see. Tell me a little bit more about your healing work, because I know you've done some interesting course. Yeah, you qualified as.
Yes, S.xological Bodyworker.
Yes.
A couple of years ago. So I first came to Koh Phangan to practice and learn Tantra with my partner at the time. And it was amazing. It was really good. But there's a lot of shadow sides to Tantra. And on this island and in many other communities. And for me, I felt that I needed to understand more about boundaries and consent. I felt like I have some kind of natural connection to healing through sexuality or with sexuality or just like intimacy. I feel like I have an openness that people have told me, you know, puts them at ease, and people speak to me about things that they don't speak to anybody else about. So I thought, okay, if I want to offer anything like this, I really need to get much clearer because of all the bullshit that I've experienced and seen. So then I found this course in Sexological Bodywork, and it was perfect. It's so much, the thing that was missing for me was the emphasis on empowering the person who's coming for healing. Because for me, healing is always an inside job. You know, I'm just there as somebody who can hold space, that has presence, that creates a container, and really permission. I feel like permission is a massive thing. And I think like from my theatre training and creativity, it's like I'm used to giving permission to so many different parts of myself. And it's almost like I'm disidentified from them because I know that I'm playing a role, or I've decided to come into a certain energy of anger, love, fear, you know, whatever it is that I'm representing. So then I'm able to hold that space and say, you're allowed to do that too.
Perfect.
To people, you know. And what I find is that a lot of my work doesn't involve anybody's genitals. It involves their hearts.
Okay.
I mean, you know, there has been work like that, but the thing that is the most important is people's hearts and really embodiment. Embodiment is the key to feel, to allow ourselves to feel. We're in such a culture where we're so used to thinking things, and we don't know how to listen to the body. We haven't been given permission. We've been taught how to actually disregard it and dismiss it. So a lot of my work is getting people to just feel and actually be able to describe sensations so that they come into contact with like more of their wisdom, more of their intuition, more of their spontaneity.
Embodiment is a huge theme indeed, you know, because lots of people indeed, like myself back in the days more, it's easy to be in your mind and not feel the body, not being present, thinking ahead, thinking in the past, just not. And I think part of the tantric path is really to learn how to be in the now and then and feel the vibrations in the world, inside and outside, really. Yeah. And if you can tap into this huge resource, which is our inner energy and presence, then you can make love in beautiful ways, and you can know what you want and what you like and what you need, right? Rather than running the programming all the time, you can just be there, present, in front of the other person or with yourself. Is that true?
Yeah, I feel like it's about letting the body lead more, and it's almost like you're just there witnessing things happening. It's like the wisdom of the body tells me how to move in relation, like say if it was an intimate like sexual experience with somebody, like how to move with them, or even with myself actually, because like one of the main things that we're taught whenever we're younger is that when we masturbate, when we self-pleasure, that we have to be quiet, it has to be private, you hold your breath, you do it as quick as you can, and you get it over and done with, right? It's like this tension, which is the complete opposite of creating like presence, pleasure, like knowing yourself and just, expanding into this present moment. And so like there's such a reconditioning to actually touch yourself like the lover that you wish you had, or that you would like, how you would even touch somebody else. Sometimes we touch ourselves in ways that we would never do to somebody else, you know? So using sound, using movement, using breath is like absolutely key. And then this is really difficult for a lot of people because we have so many taboos about, oh, somebody hears this, what do they think, you know? Like it's fine to hear an argument somehow, to see a fight, but somehow to know that somebody is having like a sensual or sexual intimate experience.
Taboo.
Whoa! You know?
You know the old story they used to tell children that masturbating made you blind, right? So always been perceived as something no from some religious traditions, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think the world is moving towards more openness, obviously, but there needs to be openness with awareness, isn't it? And possibly that's what you also inspire people to do, right? So to be open, to create your own boundaries in accordance with the other person, and do. Nothing is really prohibited if it's done with awareness and in a consensual manner.
Consent.
Yeah.
Consent. Yeah. And this is something, it's not just about, it's a really important part of it is trusting that the person that I'm with also will tell me when they're not in consent, because then I'm not really free to like fully express myself. I'll hold back, I'll worry, I'll wonder, I'll try and take care of the other person instead of the gloriousness, like where so much of our creativity, confidence, passion, and like actually seeing our power within ourselves comes from like trusting that the other person will say, oh, that's too much for me, or can we stop, you know? And if I don't have that, then I'm constantly like holding back. And that I love, this is in the Wheel of Consent, that is the dynamic of taking, which is often so stigmatized, because if we go out of consent and taking, then it turns into rape, then it turns into stealing, you know, into like all these really deep taboos. And this is why I love this work as well, because for so many people, just these, the Wheel of Consent, which is like 4 different quadrants of take and allow, serve and accept, and just to break those down really, really helps you to understand like who's giving a gift, who's receiving, and what different things, what gifts are within that. And within taking is the only one where our creativity and our spontaneity really, really can flow. And our society usually doesn't allow that because of the fears of going into some of these shadows.
Wow. Well, Rachel, thank you very much for this little chat today. I really enjoyed, chatting with you on camera. And of course, I'll see you as soon as we can resume our theater practice, hopefully as soon as possible.
Yes.
Yeah. We're gonna have an improv theater show that was scheduled for early May, but now it's gonna be postponed.
Yeah.
But it's gonna happen sooner or later. So
we will do it.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cool.